everybody. Today we're here to talk about how to plant a perennial. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing a perimeter dig. Just taking the spade in, getting it down in there pretty far to get a nice deep hole, because that pot's a decent sized pot, so about 8 inches deep you're going to want to go. Once I do that, I just come back through and break that soil up. So then you're not taking those big clumps out. And if you're on a hillside, you go to set that on the side of the hole that you're digging, and it rolls halfway down the hill. So you're digging out a pretty nice, already broken up soil. Should be deep enough. And another thing is you want to go about twice as wide as what your pot is. So figure the pot, half of the pot on this side, half the pot on this side. So I think we did a pretty good job there. Now we're going to add in some soil amendments. Our go-to is the bumper crop soil. We like to use like anywhere from a 30 to 50% ratio with existing soil. I like to dump that right on top of our existing pile. And then biotone. This is a nice plant starter, root starter. We do this with all of our tree and shrub plantings. But they say you can use a cup of this up to a 2-gallon size pot. That is a little over a 1-gallon pot. So that should be about good. And then I'm just getting in there, mixing this soil up, breaking up any of the bigger clumps. And making for a nice backfill. You need to take your plant out. I always like to grip the top of it, flip the pot over, kind of inspect the roots as you're doing it. If you have a lot of like circling roots, that this is now the time that you could actually like tease that apart if you wanted to. This is not a root bound plant. This is an awesome plant, in my opinion, because these are all fresh roots and they're going to want to go out into this new fresh soil that we just dug. That's why you want to do that extra size hole, because that is where all the feeder roots are going to start into. So now you want to inspect your depth. So this bed does not have any mulch on it. We are going to put mulch on it. So when we plant, I always like to leave the plant up a little bit above the soil level, especially if you're going to come back in and do mulch. So we're going to leave this up about 1 inch above the existing soil level. So we need to add a little more soil back into there to get it up to height. You can press down a little bit so it doesn't settle, to get a little bit of harder compaction. Place your plant. Now here's another good time, depending on what you're planting. Now we're doing perennials, but just for another example would be if you're doing a shrub or a tree, this would be the perfect time to adjust it to the best side out. So if you have a shrub and say it has a little bit of a bare spot on the back, but you're going to be viewing it from your point of view, you want to adjust that plant so it has the best view or the best side out per se. So I think we're good there. And then we're just going to backfill all around the perimeter of this with the soil we just made. I kind of just take my fingers and kind of push down a little bit. You do not want to compact that. So you don't use your foot or your hands and really push down on that soil. Compaction is not a good thing. You want to compact it with water. So whenever you go to water this in, when you water, you may see this settle a little bit. So there will be a depression, and that is the perfect time just to go back in there and put some additional soil on top. So now you can see, here's our existing soil level, and this plant is actually above the existing soil level. That is what we're looking for. So whenever we go to mulch, we're gonna bring that mulch in, and we're gonna go right to this base of the plant. I'm not gonna run mulch all the way into the crown of the plant. I wanna keep it back a little way so it has a little bit of room to grow, and you're not gonna have any chance of that mulch falling into the crown and choking the plant out. So I'm going to grab some mulch, and I'm going to show you how that mulching process is going to work. All right, back with mulch. So dump a little bit out, and I'm just going to put a nice about 1 to 2 inch layer down. I mean, we're going to end up doing this whole bed, but to do around the perimeter, just like that. So we're not going too close to the crown of the plant. We still got the exposed soil. This mulch is going to be great. Keeps additional moisture into the ground, keeps the weeds down, and the roots cooler, so it'll have a easier time to get established. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.